I remember sitting in my car after the last day of a stuttering course here in the Netherlands thinking, this is it. I finally have the answer. Years of frustration, sadness and feeling completely stuck, all of it was about to end. I genuinely believed it was over. I had a speaking technique that worked. I was 100% fluent during the course. I felt confident. I felt unstoppable. For a few days, I honestly thought I was about to get my life back. But then, over the next few weeks, it all fell apart. And not slowly, fast. And I fell harder than ever before, because this time I had actually believed it was over. And that crash taught me something that no course ever could. And in this video I'm going to share exactly what that was, because that changed everything for me. If you stutter, you already know the drill. You search for tips, you find breathing techniques, speaking methods, tricks to get through difficult words. And some of them actually work, at least in the right situations. But here's the problem. Almost every solution that I found was focused on one thing: speech. How to say the words, how to control your breathing, how to stay fluent. And for years, that's exactly what I did. I kept trying to fix the symptom instead of addressing what was underneath it. And after a while, after you tried all those different courses, different tricks, you kind of become a little bit depressed, because the hope of you getting rid of your stutter gets smaller and smaller. For me at least, that was the case. I decided that it was enough, and then I went to a course here in the Netherlands that was really highly recommended. I thought I tried everything else, so why not try this? And I was really hopeful, because there were a lot of great stories of people that really improved their speaking and improved their fluency. So I had really high hopes, and I kind of felt like a relief from, this is finally going to fix my stutter and I'm finally going to live my life. And then I went to that course, and it was really amazing, because they teach you a really good speaking method that you can use. During the week, it was a 5-day course. Every day I improved my speak, and we practiced a lot. I was really on a cloud at that course. I was really like, oh my god, I am going to do it. I thought I already got rid of my stutter at that course, at that week. So I was really excited, and I was also really excited to go out into the world and show people. After the course, like a few days in, things went very well. I went home to my parents, I talked with them. It was 99% fluent. And then the responsibilities came back in my life, like I had to work again, I had to go to parties, like social gatherings. Then I noticed that something was missing. Then slowly it all began to fall apart. I was using the speaking method and it wasn't working, like I was really confused. And then the realization set in, like that was really my final option, my final hope. So I don't know what I'm going to do next, you know. That crash was really hard, because all the hope that I had put in this course, and I had put in this last thing that would obviously solve my stuttering, it was gone. Until that moment, I thought stuttering was just a speaking problem. That crash made me realize that stuttering goes way deeper than that. Because after that crash, I noticed something strange. I was so far gone that I just did not care about hiding my stutter anymore. That made me more relaxed, careless and accepting. And whenever I was relaxed, accepted myself, and I didn't care as much about how I sounded, speaking became easier. Not perfect, but easier. And whenever I was ashamed, hiding, forcing, controlling or obsessing, everything got worse, no matter how good the technique was. That was the first clue. Maybe this isn't just a speech problem. I also remember this conversation that I had with my boss. I was working at my job for around 5 years. Every day I was trying to hide my stutter. It was really exhausting. Even though I knew that people around me knew about my stutter, I still tried to hide it. But then this one day he asked me how I was doing, and usually I don't have that deep conversation with my boss. This time I was still in that headspace of like, I don't care anymore, nothing else works for me. So I just explained to him that I just had completed a course, that I was still trying to use the speaking techniques that I learned in that course, and that I needed to talk a bit slower, you know, or sometimes even start over. And what I noticed in that conversation was that that a shift happened. I was openly talking to him about this course that I was doing because of my stutter, and that was the first time that I told him about my stutter and that I'm really struggling with that. And I just noticed when I tried to do this speaking technique, it just went amazing. Like, I was fluent for the first time in 5 years around my boss, and I was usually quite stressed around him because I obviously did not want him to know. I later on thought about that, like, why was I fluent there all of a sudden? And then I thought about it like this. For the first time, I fully accepted myself as being a person that has a stutter and not being ashamed of it. I'm just here talking about it with him very openly, and I'm just really accepting who I am. And that moment really confused me because I wasn't using a new technique, I wasn't trying harder, I wasn't more motivated, but something deeper had changed. So that was the first time that I was like, this is a very good small win. I know the next step, I know what I need to work on, and that isn't just a speaking technique. So here's what I figured out, and this is the thing that nobody tells you when you start looking for solutions. Most people start here, the tip of the iceberg, the speaking techniques, the fluency tools, the tricks, but that's backwards. You can't build fluency on top of shame. You can't build fluency on top of fear. You can't build fluency on top of a nervous system that feels threatened every time you open your mouth. It won't hold. It never holds. The foundation isn't speech. The foundation is identity. The foundation is your nervous system. The speaking technique comes last. So I flipped it, and this is the framework that I started using. Bottom up, not top down. Before anything else, you have to make peace with the fact that you stutter. Not accept it as permanent, but accept it as where you are right now. You have to be okay with the world knowing, okay with taking your time, okay with being the person who works on this publicly instead of trying to hide it in private. Until that shift happens, every technique you try will be sabotaged by your own emotions. Once your identity is in a different place, you start working on regulation and desensitization, lowering your baseline stress so your body isn't in fight or flight every time you decide to speak, and gradually exposing yourself to the things that trigger you. Not to push through them, but to teach your nervous system that it is safe. Only now, when your identity is solid and your nervous system is calmer, does the speaking technique actually work. Because now you have the foundation to hold it. I'm telling you this because I know exactly who is watching this video. You're probably someone who wants more from life. Someone who knows they are capable of more. Someone who is tired of shrinking, tired of the avoidance. You are someone who has tried the techniques. Maybe you've read some books, maybe you've watched some videos, or maybe you have even done a course. Maybe, like me, you've had moments where it all worked, followed by moments it all fell apart again. That's not because you failed, that's because you were building from the top down. The person you want to be, the version of you that speaks freely, goes after the job, who has the conversation, who doesn't shrink, that person exists. They're already there. Underneath everything, you just have to build the foundation first. Before I go, I want to ask you a question. When you look back at all the things you tried, what is the thing that has been missing? Was it confidence? Was it consistency? Or was it something deeper? Over the next coming months, I will break down each layer of this framework on this channel. What nervous system work actually looks like, how to start the identity work, and eventually the speaking method that actually helped me be fluent when everything else was in place. I'm also documenting everything inside my school community, in detail frameworks that I use on a day-to-day basis, creating challenges we can do together, and structured accountability. The waitlist link is in the description if you want in early. If you are like me, you probably never accepted your stutter as permanent. And honestly, I see that as a good thing. Just make sure you accept who you are right now, because if you can't accept who you are right now, you'll never become who you want to be. I'll see you in the next one.